Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unturned Pages. Unfortunately, my other host, Jenny, cannot be with us tonight. She just returned home from Michigan Paracon. I was getting pictures and all the fun stuff from her all weekend. So I hope everybody that went was actually safe and had a great time. So tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different, just a tad bit different, something we haven't done before on the show yet, and we are watching out for the safety of our guest. So I want to welcome on Miss Brie Hollingshead.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Brie, how are we doing?
Doing all right. On the way home from Iowa.
On the road again, huh?
Always on the road.
So tell everybody a little bit about it. You kind of just, from my understanding of you kind of just recently kind of got involved in the paranormal within the last couple of years.
Yeah, actually, it's more like almost. It's only been a month and a half. I mean, I've had the paranormal in my life since I was like 6, but I went on a road trip to, ironically, a Get Haunted event. All
How
right,
ironic
sorry, I
is
gotta get around this. So I went on a road trip to go to a Get Haunted event, and I had a feeling on the way down that I should chronicle my trip and make some fun pit stops. So I did fun pit stops on the way down. I went and did the Mothman, rubbed the shiny hiney,
Oh yeah.
saw Sweet Spring Sanatorium because that Friday was the release of the second episode, the sleeping arrangements for Project Fear
Yep.
at Sweet Spring. So I figured what a nice little homage to them. Went and did the USS North Carolina at their the Get Haunted event, and then on the way back, I hit St. Albans, and I hit Trans Allegheny. Amazing, amazing! Like I get goosebumps just thinking about it. But amazing
Two
location.
places that are so very near and dear to my heart. When I lived in North Carolina, I actually got invited by a group that actually lived in Virginia, and I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, well, it's only like an hour and a half from me." And I went, and I tell you what, I do not regret going one bit.
Oh yeah, those are I still, even though I saw them, I would love to get inside of them and do an investigation. I can only imagine. I mean, trans is so big. I mean, you would almost need a week, it looks like.
Tala, I've investigated 3 times.
Wow. That is, I'll be honest, that's a top five bucket list right there to get inside.
It was
But being
definitely
able to see it was just mind blowing.
it was definitely worth it. Like honestly, like it was. We had booked it when my group was in Ohio. We had booked it and we went down there, and it blew me away. Absolutely blew me away.
Oh, wow.
And Adam Bonnet used to work there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you know Glider, he used to work there.
Okay.
And so he was one of the tour guides there. And it like I've gone down there for 2 investigations, and then we went down and did an event when Steve Gonzalez, Dave Tango, and Bruce Tango were down there.
Oh, wow.
And we went down, and I actually won tickets because like Trans Allegheny was doing something on their Facebook of like, hey, if you can, call in and name 3 of our tour guides, we'll give you free tickets. And of course, I knew almost all the staff because I've been down there a couple times. So yeah, Copperhead is amazing.
Wow.
I don't believe Copperhead's there anymore. Adam is not there anymore. But yeah, we got tickets, and I took my buddy. I was like, hey, dude, I'm like, I don't have any gas in my car, but hey, if you want to drive, I'll give you a ticket that's like worth like $150.
Oh, wow.
And he had never been. So it was a kid I actually went to high school with that actually joined our group. And he had never been on like a massive scale investigation. He's only been to places like Madison Seminary, House of Wills, things like that.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm about to throw you into something you're never going to forget. Like kind of just toss them to the wolves, I guess you could say.
Nice. How did he do?
He did really well. Scared the hell out of him one time because we were in the men's violent wing, and we were sitting in the middle of the floor right in front of one of the sunrooms, and it was just him and I. There was no one else on the floor because Trans-Allegheny, if no one's ever been there, these walls, you cannot hear through them. You cannot hear people walking above you. You cannot hear people walking below you. They are cement walls, and they are horseshoe shaped on each ward. So you like have to enter. There's one way in, one way out. That's all there
Oh
is.
wow.
And we went in, we walked the entire area, and we sat down and we were doing an EVP session, and we just started hearing steps coming towards us. And we're like, oh, somebody must have come in. So like we shine our flashlights down. There's no one coming down. And we're like,
Oh wow.
okay. And we're both just sitting there. We keep hearing the footsteps getting closer and closer and closer. And then all of a sudden, they hit right next to us and they walk right past us.
Wow.
And he's sitting there like, there's no one here, right? I was like, it's pretty much just you and I on this floor right now. He's like, what the hell just happened? I was like, welcome to the field, buddy.
Your cherry has been popped.
Correct.
That's awesome.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. How, like, I know you said, like, the paranormal's been in your life your entire life.
Right.
But, kind of, what sparked the idea to start doing, Brie's travel log?
So with the road trips, I threw everything up on Twitter, and then somebody suggested, they were like, because it took off on Twitter, and somebody was like, you need to start putting this stuff, like take everything from that trip and put it over onto Facebook. And so I did, and Sarah and I connected. I ended up becoming family with Get Haunted. And I decided on my own that I was going to just do road trips. I loved it. My kids were thrilled with it. And they were so intrigued with the fact that I was putting history with it. Because I raised my kids, my boys, on, watching like all the older shows. And they were like, Mom, nobody does what you do. Like, you go and you find the history. And so, like I always tie one of my catch lines is, there's no hauntings without history. And
Correct.
You don't really see, like, you see people go into locations, but you don't know much about them. Like, they'll give a little bit of history. And I'm like, for one, the history needs to be known a lot, especially because of COVID. I heard a lot of places have shut their doors permanently. And
Yes.
There's so many, because the stigma is being removed now too, a lot more. There's a lot more places like hidden gems that are being revealed. Local news stations like the lighthouse with the ghost cat that I covered. Yep. I'm from Ohio, and I'll be honest, I never knew that lighthouse had a ghost cat. I'd never even heard of that lighthouse before, but the local news had done a blip on it, and I was like, you know what? Why not? It's fun. And there's so many hidden gems that get overlooked for the big places, unfortunately, like Trans-Allegheny, like the USS North Carolina. I mean, there's so many that I can name off that are bigger names. People know them, they recognize them, they flock to them. And these smaller places get overlooked. And what a lot of people don't realize is that these smaller places, just like the bigger ones, they all depend on us going to them and, doing the tours, booking the investigations, seeing what we can find and what we, what we can contribute to the history of the location. There's so much, like the location I was at last night, the Haunted Rock Island YMCA, that there's so much history there with going back to the mafia. And, I was sitting there with my chattergeist asking questions, getting intelligent responses. And I was talking to a couple people afterwards, and they're filling me in on more information. And, this stuff needs to be known. It should be shared. And we need to love it and treasure it and go find it. And, you know, we live in a society where a lot of our history gets overlooked now. We live in a microwave generation. So, or air fryer generation at that now.
Pretty much toaster oven, air fryer kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But here's my question for you. So I've seen you a couple times post on Facebook, and you know, I'm not hip with the kids these days. I don't have Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or you know TikTok or anything like that. I'm lucky I even have Facebook and know how to navigate that. But you know, I see you saying sometimes that you're going in for a solo investigation. Now, is that something
Right.
you do often, go in and investigate by yourself? I mean, do you have other people there, or are you just completely alone?
When I'm doing a solo or an like isolation, I guess is what you would call it, because I have people tease me. They're like, it's not really solo if other people are at the location. I go and find the I I like to find the scariest part of where we're at and test myself and put myself in there for 30 minutes, see what I can find, and hopefully I don't get scared, you know, out of the location crying and running. But it's a way for me to like test myself and to show people, because I also think a lot of locations have been, how do I say this, overhyped, and also given bad reps because people want to get those likes, get those views. And so I want to show people that, yeah, you know, the paranormal's not scary. You can go and you can sit for a half hour, 45. Like last night, I did 2 isolations, 45 minutes each. And, you know, did I get a little scared at one point? Yeah, I did. You know, it is scary when you hear, you know, footsteps coming at you and you know that there's nobody there whatsoever. You know, I mean, you know, people are in the building, but you know that there's nobody in front of you and you're hearing the footsteps in front of you. You know, it can be scary, but I want to show people that there's no, I want to help encourage people to go and do and explore and not let fear hold them in place and make them feel like, oh, I can't go do that, that's too scary. You know, I'm hoping to kind of inspire people to get off the couches and stop making their bucket list by doing the solos and by going to these locations.
That's one thing I've always tried to do with myself when I'm doing investigations is I never really do it the first time I'm at a location. I'll do it the second time when I go to a location, but I always kind of push myself to go like into an area and just sit there alone. Like, just let me do this. Give me like half an hour, 45 minutes. Just let me sit here. Okay. And I always try to push myself because, fun fact about me, if everyone is listening, one of my phobias is actually long, dark hallways with a lot of open doors.
Oh, wow.
That is one of my phobias, and it is a unnatural phobia for me considering what I do.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people, I can never have my back to a door. I always need to see the room. I always need to, you know, everything.
Oh, yeah. I won't lie. Last night, I literally had my back against the wall. And I mean, and I was live because I could hear somebody coming at me, and I could hear, because I got up to turn a light off because the light was shining on the door to the room just enough where I couldn't tell if my eyes were like matrixing on me, like I was like,
Yeah.
I was thinking I was seeing something, or was I really seeing, because it kept looking like somebody was peeking in at me, and I knew nobody was there. I knew that the other group was on a different floor in a completely different part of the building. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get up and turn this light off. And I got up, walked out, turned the light off. And as I'm walking back, I can hear my metal chair that I was just in scraping across the floor.
Oh, nice.
And then I can hear foot, like heavy boots, like old boots, coming towards me. And so it was like somebody's moving my chair in the room I was just in, and somebody's coming at me. Like I literally just stood and like put my back to the wall because I was like, I've never been here before. I don't know if someone's going to try to grab me, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to put your back on a wall. But I stood my ground, you know, you can't let the fear overcome you. But I totally get the whole having your back exposed, like, and not knowing what's there, you know, with the hallway. I can relate to that because of what I went through last night. I can totally relate to that. So don't let anybody say anything to you about that.
No, I mean, no one really. It's more of a chuckle than it is kind of a judgment. It's just kind of one of those like, and there's a lot of people out there that are actually kind of like that. I mean, you know, you have these people that are paranormal investigators and have a phobia of spiders. Like,
Yeah, I
you realize
do.
these places that we're going into. Like, you realize these places we're going into have been abandoned for years upon years, and they don't have a housekeeping staff to kind of like dust and clean up.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Spiders. Spiders will make me ugly cry. You want to make me ugly cry? You put a spider in my face, and like,
Hi, Rachel. How are you doing? Rachel Bradley's in the chat room.
Hey, Rachel.
All right, so everybody that is just now coming in or just started watching, Brie is actually on the road and she's doing something very special. She's actually kind of giving you a peek into the life of a road trip with Brie. And she's doing this, thankfully enough, doing this from the road. And I've been making sure she's been being safe. And she promised me that she was. So I told her if she was good with it, I was good with it. So don't judge me, guys. But okay, so we got into a little bit about how you got into the paranormal and what you're doing, and the history side back to the paranormal, because I think that's what you need.
Yes.
You know, people need to know about. You know, you could tell somebody, oh yeah, 14 people died in this house and it's haunted, and then nothing else after that. Like
Yeah.
it's wanting to know the historical aspects of it, like Alton, Illinois, completely built from limestone and is considered one of the most haunted towns in America.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's nice to know the history of a location, and you know, sometimes I like to go in blind on my first investigation, then know the history afterwards. That way, if I get anything, I'm not led to believe,
Right.
or kind of forcing something.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
See, like, and I totally get that. I totally get, because you know, you want to know, like it's almost like that double-sided coin. You want to make sure that you're not being fed information and, oh well, this must be this. I just saw this, so it must be, you know. So I totally understand that. And like what I do is some of the haunting stuff you can't avoid, especially with the TV shows that are out there, the podcasts, the information that gets spread now on Facebook and all the different apps that there are, you know, like with social media, you know, we're hearing all this stuff, and so you can't really avoid a lot of the haunting stuff. But like for me, it's like
I don't mean to interrupt you, but did you do the did you just do the cop head turn? Like, was there a cop sitting in the median there?
No, I was trying. I had moved from the left lane over to the right because I had a car flying up on me, and I was passing an exit for a rest stop and had to let a slow moving vehicle get around, and then I needed to get around him because he was doing 15. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I was just trying to make sure I could get back over. Yeah, no, I'm doing the speed limit. I promise.
So Darren has a question. He says, "Is there a location you won't go to?"
No. Nope. I will go to there. I don't think that there's a location that I would not go to.
Oh, look at the big balls on Brie.
Brass ovaries, baby.
It rhymed better. All right, leave me alone.
It's all right. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to get like a...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm gonna have to get like something with a ball now to like on a bracelet or something, you know, just for what you just said.
I'm pretty sure Pandora makes them or something. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I'll have to find something. I'm sure I can find something on Amazon.
If not, I have enough jewelry makers out there that could probably have something for you.
Awesome.
So, what are you said you've been doing this for what? You said like 2 months now?
Yeah, going on 2 months. I started July 1st with my first road trip, believe it or not.
Okay.
And
Now,
I've been going every weekend since.
had you ever gone and done an investigation prior to this, whether it be an event or, you know, going with a group that you may have networked with, or?
I've explored on my own before. I even had like equipment that was handed down to me that I had used, when I was able to, but I hadn't gone like to an event, so to speak, before. That my first event was actually at Old Baraboo Inn the weekend before I went to the USS North Carolina.
Okay. So you're pretty much virgin blood getting into the whole paranormal aspect of thing, and you're what our seasoned investigators would say, sacrificing the virgin.
Basically, yeah, I'm falling on that sword, and I'm doing it with a smile on my face. So.
Well, you're doing it with the smile, the charisma, and all the energy of what you could ask for an investigator.
Well, thank you.
Of course, of course. So, over your past 2 months, and you said you've been doing every week, so that's been 8 weeks now of road trips.
Yeah.
What are your most memorable locations that you've been through in your road trips?
Okay, I hit one today. So yesterday, my second location was Edinburgh Manor.
Yep.
I was able to give the history on the location, go live from outside. Today, I went and did a tour, and got to learn more, got to see the inside, and that place was insane. Even during the day, during the tour, after the tour, Cindy gives you, free time to roam around. And so she had given me permission that I could go live. And I just had to be careful with not getting people on camera, which I'm completely fine with and I'm used to doing. I don't let people go on camera unless I've got their express permission. You even hear me at one point during my live today because a girl was trying to use dowsing rods and she hadn't done it before. And I was like, is it okay if I help walk you through and put you on camera? And she just kind of looked at me and shook her head no. So like I only put the camera on the dowsing rods. I wouldn't show her face. But while we were in there walking around, there was consistent movement. I even got a scratch on my hand at the very end. After we got done, I was with my friend Darby, and we were talking about the Joker, and we were walking into the bedroom where in the women's ward where the teenager had been assaulted on numerous occasions. And we were getting ready to walk in there, and it felt like something grabbed my hand and like scratched it from the mid knuckle of my pinky all the way down to the knuckle on my hand. And it burned something awful and would not let go. It was like a good 5 minutes, and like the K2 kept spiking up to like red. It was insane. But they were like following me all the way through. I kept getting my legs touched. For whatever reason, they liked touching my legs.
Well, do you have nice legs? That's the question.
I would like to think I do. I mean, I've got. I would like to think so. I mean, if they liked my legs, then thank you. I mean, at one point when we were standing in room, what is that, 106, where Susie's at. It
Yep.
literally felt like, like how a kid will grab your leg, like from your knee down and like sit on your foot and have you like ask you to walk with them sitting
Yep.
on your foot.
Like kind
It
of
felt like
around your calf.
Yeah, it felt like I had a kid do that to my leg. It was probably one of the coolest sensations I'd ever had. And another favorite of mine would be Poasttown Elementary School. The children there are so active. The first time I was in there, I was walking down the hall and you could like feel them. It was like I just felt a bunch of tiny hands on my arms. It was like they all wanted to hold my arm. And then they all wanted to hold my hand. And I put my hand out and said, it's okay, you can hold my hand. And I literally could feel a little hand grab my hand and hold on for a few seconds, let go, and then another little hand would grab on.
Yep.
And it was like they were taking turns holding my hand. So, I mean, every location I've done has been a favorite for different reasons. But yeah, today definitely stuck out to me. Another good one, I think, I only highlighted it. I haven't had a chance to actually investigate, would be Prospect Place Manor in Trinway, Ohio. The history on that is insane.
I got a nice little story about Prospect. I've investigated there about 3 times. Because right in Trinway, Ohio, I lived in Columbus, so it wasn't that far from me. And my group decided the one night that we would reenact the hanging of the bounty hunter.
Oof.
Guess who got to be the bounty hunter?
You?
Yep.
Oh man.
So they went full on. Like I had like a burlap sack over my head. I had a noose around my neck. They led me out to the barn with lanterns and everything. Took a brick, tied it around the other end of the rope, threw it up on top of the second floor to kind of simulate the hanging. And like we were standing there and everybody was talking and everything like that. And everybody just automatically goes silent. And I'm like, I can't see anything. I'm like, all right, guys, what the hell's going on? And no one's saying anything. And I'm like, guys. And then I start to feel the rope start getting a little bit tighter. And I'm like, cut me out now. And
right.
Enough, one of my investigators had a pocket knife and cut me out completely because I didn't want to take off running and have a brick smack me in the back of the head. But
right.
So we went through on the data review. We went through it, and during like me going out there and standing there for a few seconds, you hear, and I'm not being insensitive about this or saying this the wrong way, but you actually hear old slave songs being sung in the background on an EVP.
Oh, wow.
And then on video, you see, because there was like a little bit of a loop of the rope hanging around my neck, like a little slack. You start to see it slowly start to pull up.
Wow. Man, so, I got chills.
That place there is always going to hold a special place in my heart.
Right.
Even just besides the history of it. Like, I've slept there. I've done many overnights there. And that still, to this day, is one of the best experiences. And actually, right now, we have a picture of you out in front of Hillview Manor.
Yes.
Another location very near and dear to my heart. Oh, Darby's in the room now.
Oh, hey, Darby. Yeah, Darby's who was with me today.
So I actually got video. I was there with the ghost detectives, Bob Christopher, Katie Christopher. They're a group out of Pennsylvania. I went with them as a special guest investigator to film. And we were down in the boiler room, literally, like the picture I see of you is right at the entrance. If you walked right through that entrance and walked right down the stairs, there was the boiler room. There was a point that I was doing a live EP session. I had headphones in that were wired. And I heard something, and you see me turn my head, and you see the headphones poke out a little bit, like as they would have, like I was wearing like a pair of iPhones headphones that split in the middle of the Y. And I turned my head, and you see it kind of like poke out a little bit. And then I'm like talking, and I was telling him, like, hold on a second, I'm hearing something. And then all of a sudden on video, you see the cord of the headphone come right across my neck.
Oh, wow.
It's on YouTube. I'll have to send you the clip of it. But it was one of those things where I immediately like reached up to my neck and like grabbed it. And then, as any investigator out there, any investigator that's listening, as any investigator would do, I was wearing a necklace that had, you know, my protection medallions, my St. Michael, my St. Benedict, my crucifix on it. And I was sitting there. I started going like turning my head left, right, up, down, like trying to see if my necklace may have caught a wire or something like that. Nothing.
Wow.
So
That's
Hillview was actually when I started my group CPRS, Collective Paranormal Research Society, out of Ohio, out of Youngstown, Ohio, which they're still going today. So guys, check them out. They're an amazing group. That we actually held a Halloween event at Hillview back in the heyday, back when Candy was running it. I don't know if you remember that, but Candy was the one that was running it when Ghost Adventures went there.
okay.
Okay, here's a good question. Darren asks, what's the most terrifying experience you've had on an investigation?
That like really scared me.
Oh, Copperhead's in the room.
Oh,
Copperhead.
nice. That's awesome. I would actually say probably last night at the Haunted Rock Island YMCA, when
Okay.
I ended up having to put my back to the wall. That was probably the most I knew I wasn't going to run. I knew I wasn't going to leave the location. But when I heard my chair being moved across the floor that I'd just gotten out of, and I heard the boots coming at me, and and Darren, because for whatever reason on StreamYard, I can only see my YouTube comments. Darren types in, watch your back. And I don't know what Darren is possibly seeing on camera that I'm not seeing because I'm trying to pay attention to everything around me at the same time. So, like, when I saw him say, watch your back, and I could hear the boots coming, I was just like, crap. That actually made my heart race. That made me get a little bit, probably more. That is probably the most nervous I've been in any location. And I've done, I was in a hidden room in a dungeon at the old Franklin County Jail. And I was in the basement at the Palmyra Historical Museum, where they found the bodies of the 2 children out of the 6 that passed away in that house fire. That didn't really scare me.
So I think for you that fight or flight moment
But
kicked in.
when you hear boots come charging at you, yeah, when you hear boots come charging at you and you know that there's nobody. And then, like, when I was in the trunk room last night as well, for my second solo, or isolation, however you want to call that, I got I'll be honest, I did start getting nervous in there because they kept rubbing my legs. And it's just like an unnerving, like, it wasn't like the touching of my legs like I had today. Like, it was almost like a aggressive touch. I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't like a polite touch. Like today, like, it felt like kids touching my legs. Last night, it felt more of an aggressive touch. And I think, though, like, when you do, and I think this is where, knowing the history of a location can almost set you up for that fear factor. And sometimes it is better to go in blind to a location. Is that with the trunk room with John Looney, the Haunted Rock YMCA was built in 1912, and it was used as a YMCA. Well, this is during the mafia period, where John Looney was the mob boss up in that area, and he ran all of his illegal doings out of the top floors and even had a brothel up there. And the trunk room was used. When they were done with a woman and they didn't require her services no more, they would take her in there, beat her to death, and sometimes she was not dead, she was just unconscious, and they would have an old trunk, they would throw her in it, and there was a stairwell that led down to the ramp, and they'd take the trunk, put it in the back of a hearse or the trunk of a car, and drive over to the Mississippi and toss out the trash. So knowing that, and knowing that I was getting touched, was unnerving, so to speak.
Now, here's the point I'm going to make about that. So, You knowing that going
Yeah.
into this location and then having that experience to you, did that kind of unnerve you a little bit? Like, kind of like, shit, am I going down the ramp?
Like, it does make you like, I'm like, okay, they're not physical. Yes, they could probably scratch me. Yes, I could probably get pushed out of a chair if it was a spirit with, you know, mean intent. Because the way I look at it is, if you're an asshole in real life and you die, your disposition is probably not going to change. You're probably going to be an asshole in death too.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, is there a trunk that I could have been tossed into? No, but could they have, you know, tried to push me out of the chair? Possibly. And, you know, so that those thoughts are going through the back of your mind, but I'm just like, I'm kind of hell-bent. Like, you're not scaring me out of here. Like, yeah, my fear might be getting spiked a little bit, but I'm not going to let you see it, because I'm not going to give you something that you could use against me. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to keep going on with my investigation. I'll acknowledge during my life I'm being touched. I'll acknowledge during my life I hear movement behind me. But I'm not going to be like, okay, guys, you know, I'm not going to drop my equipment and run. Because then what? I'm letting something that's not there. It's almost like when you're in a haunted house. And see, this is the funny part for me. I will get scared shitless in a haunted house, but being in a haunted location, I can do that all day, every day. Put me in a haunted house and I'm going to whimper my way through it. So there's the giggle for me.
Now, that's the fun thing about me is actually I don't do haunted houses because I absolutely hate jump scares. I hate the intentional jump scares. Now,
yeah.
put me into a haunted location that has like 400 people have died in, and I'm hearing footsteps coming towards me. I'm going to be like, all right, what do you got?
Right. But then like investigator mode also kicks in too. And you're like, okay, can I debunk this?
Yeah.
Is there a mouse scurrying? You know, like I will, during my lives, when I felt something touching me, like I would turn my pin light on and I would start looking at my legs, making sure a bug didn't crawl up my leg, you know, showing everybody that I'm not sitting close to anything that could be touching me. You know, it's like you go into debunking mode. Like, okay, what could this be?
Did I possibly run into a cobweb? Did I like brush up against something? You know.
Yeah.
No, I completely get where you're coming from. And yeah, Darren, jump scares equal a fist. That's true. But the sad thing about it is I actually start in 5 days working at one of the biggest haunted houses here in New England.
Oh, nice.
I'll scare the hell out of people all day long.
You just don't want to be scared.
I just don't care. So Darren had also asked the question, what is your favorite experiment to do?
My favorite experiment. Okay, so, and I always say this wrong. I like doing the essays. Essays. I can never say it right. That's a fun one, but I kind of like, for me, it's testing myself with my environment, because I'm finding that I do have abilities. And so it's like, I like to see, don't tell me what happened here. Let me see if I can figure it out. You know, what could be leading up to the haunting, and see if I can get it right. I mean, it might sound like a weird experiment to some people, but for me, it's, you know, what am I able to do? I'm experimenting, you know, with my capabilities. And my experiment basically is doing the isolation. That's the biggest way I can push myself. I know a lot of people would be like, oh, well, let's put a REM pod here and a REM pod there, and let's ask a few questions, or let's set up a camera and throw a EVP recorder out for 5 hours and see what we can get and call it an experiment. I think Darren too had me do something that was really cool. The first room I started off in, they call it the wrestling room, and you can actually see where the chains were attached to the wall, and they would strap the women up by the wrist and beat the living shit out of these women. The woman that was in there, the one name I was given was Rose. And I did get responses that Rose was in the room when I was using the 8-ball on my chattergeist. And so Darren was like, why don't you stand as close to the wall as you can get? And there was stuff propped against it, so I couldn't get that close to it. And the whole time I was sitting in my chair, I could hear audible movement behind me. And it sounded metallic. So it made me wonder, like, am I hearing the chains that Rose had to wear or the other women, were forced into when they got beat in that room?
Very possible.
So standing against that wall as close as I could get, hoping and praying a big nasty spider wouldn't crawl on me at the same time, it was unnerving. When I was, especially because when I was sitting in the chair, they actually picked one of my curls up and like dropped it in my face, and then they kept picking it up and playing with my curl. And so standing there against that wall, not knowing if somebody was going to pet my hair or play with my curl or even pull a curl, that was definitely a test of what can I do? Because I think that was even after I had my back against the wall in the hallway outside of that room. So
they were just saying their final goodbyes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they liked my curls, evidently. They kept playing with them all night. So it was, stuff like that doesn't faze me. I always find it cool. It's fascinating. Like, oh my God, they just played with my hair. Can you do it again?
Yeah.
Like, I want to rule out that this wasn't like a weird breeze that came through the room. Can you play with my curl one more time?
Give me confirmation.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Nathaniel Elwell asked a pretty good question in here. He says he's seen you use cat balls and everything. He's like, what is your favorite piece of equipment to use when investigating? Or is there any equipment you would like to try that you have not used yet?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I love my chattergeist. I love that piece of equipment. That is probably the best thing I've ever bought. When I'm in dictionary mode, it actually has 17,500 words in it. And I use mine. There's 3 different modes that you can run it on with dictionary. I will run mine on continuous, so it'll drop between 2 to 5 words. And there's a bar, like a timer bar, that runs on the bottom of the screen. And once it hits the end of that bar, it goes back into sensing mode. And every time I've used it on dictionary mode, it has popped off with words that were that relate to what I was talking about or the room and location I was in. And it does it, and it's quick. It is so quick. The 8-ball, I mean, I've never had it fail. I mean, I've had it not respond, and it's like, okay, I guess they're not in here. They don't want to answer questions anymore. But the Chattergeist is, I think, I'm excited to have that piece of equipment. Not many do. And so the fact that I've got it and I'm able to play with it and experiment with it and see the capabilities of it, I think is really fun. Another fun one that I just got is the boot box. I've only been able to play with it a couple of times. It's a box that's got a power supply, a speaker, and a phone in it. And the phone's got like 12 different apps. So you can it even comes with like a microphone. So you can set it up for EVP usage as well and record on the phone.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like this stuff right now because everybody's got a REM pod. Everybody's got a K2. I want the stuff that nobody else really has because I want to also support the people that are out there creating and trying to push our field to the next level. It's the people that are spending the hours in their garages that are taking the time to build the equipment that are going to help elevate us to the next level. Another piece of really cool equipment that I got to witness was the knock rods that Next of Kin, an investigative team, they came up with. And they're rods that have sensors on them, and they go out so far and they light up.
Yeah.
And I thought those were pretty darn cool. So seeing the new things, the new technology that's out there, like, I want to see what people are making, and I want to try to invest in it and support the people in our community.
Personally, I want to try the tripwire.
Those are fun. I have used those.
I think that
Those
would
are
be cool
really
to figure out, to try it out and everything. I mean, I'm kind of old school in my investigating. Like, I don't go for all the bells and whistles. I mean, I completely agree and believe in supporting my friends that build equipment and these small business owners and makers that are out there. I completely agree with that. I completely am behind that. But I'm kind of the old school investigator. I go in there with a flashlight, an audio recorder, a camera, and just kind of let the building talk to me.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to go bare basics, 9 times out of 10, you see me, like, I'll pull out the Chattergeist when I'm doing my lives, or like if somebody wants to try to experiment with it, here you go, have fun. When I first got it, I used it at Palmyra, but you see me out there with my phone. I'm taking pictures 3 in a row. I'm doing back-to-back videos. I'm seeing what I can get. I think a lot of times with the bells and whistles too, is that sometimes we can get so involved with all the bells and whistles that are around us that we miss the shadow person peeking out of a doorway.
Correct.
We
You spend more time setting up equipment than you are paying attention to your environment.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like one of those, like, it's a double-sided coin. Like, I love supporting everybody, but I also love going in there and seeing what I can hear and what I can see and what I can feel. Like, when I do my lives, I'll throw cat balls out there. I'll throw out my boo lights. I'll pull out my Chattergeist. And then there's times where, like when I was at Poasttown Elementary and I was in the mean teacher's room, I think I got the boo lights and the cat balls pulled out. I had a trip light with me. Didn't even set it up because the room was so active. I was literally walking in a circle in the room because it was like there was stuff happening all around me. And it's like, why pull something out when I'm experiencing all this firsthand? I don't need something to light up and tell me that I can hear footsteps, or I'm seeing a shadow pace behind a teacher's desk. Hearing the pops in the lockers. I swear a locker was going to fly open on me there.
Now, I've done investigating for 26 years now. Actually, next year will be 27 years for me, and I'm only 39 years old. So I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. I started doing this back before all the shows were out. I started doing this back before it was a popular thing. I started doing it back when it was taboo. And it's one of those things where I have the newer generation, I guess you could say, of investigators coming up and asking, well, what's the best equipment you can use? And I always tell them the best tool you can have is yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
No piece of equipment is going to tell you how you. So I still stick to that to this day, and I was taught that years ago, that the best piece of equipment you're ever going to own is yourself.
Yep. I fully agree with that. I even say that when I'm doing my isolations, and I'm doing lives. I tell everybody, like, look, this might sound crazy to you, but the best piece of equipment you're going to have is your 5 senses. It's going to be your body. You're going to, the hair on your arm is going to stand up. You're going to hear things. You're going to see things. And like, I might see something that you guys, it's not going to show on the camera because I can't zoom in. It might be real quick. There might be things that you guys catch that I don't as you're watching. You might, the record, the mic on my phone might pick up a voice that I don't hear with my own ears, but you guys are going to hear it. But like, your senses are going to be your biggest trigger. Like, right, you're your own biggest trigger object. A lot of people say, oh, bring a trigger object. You don't need to. You're your own trigger object, really, when you think about it, because you're another person that, and depending on how frequent in a location is, they might not see people that often, and they might be like, well, who the hell are you? And try to, play with your hair.
Well, that's the thing, though, too, is your energy is the trigger for the spirits to react.
Yep. They're going to feed off of it. They're going to draw off of that.
All right, Brie, so we got about 10 minutes left in the show here. Okay. I'm glad you're being safe. So I'm going to hit you with 2 questions I always ask on every show we do. So I'll start off with the easy one.
Okay.
if you had to, we brought this up earlier, if you had to make a bucket list
Oof.
of 5 places anywhere in the world, no cost involved, to go and investigate, where would you go?
Oh my God. Okay. Trans-Allegheny is in there for sure, hands down, no questions asked. Missouri State Penitentiary is another one. I'm going to go to, I can't remember the name of the island, but it's Ghost Adventures had been there. It's the island where during the Black Plague.
Polivica?
Yes, there. I want to go there. Let's see, where else would I go? And some of them are so simple. Like,
sometimes simple is better.
yeah, I would love to do a full-on investigation at Edinburgh that I was at today. That's always been a huge bucket list for me. And I would have to say because that's 4. Number 5. Where would I go? I think okay, place that I could go, no cost.
Anywhere in the world. You can't you can't say the Titanic sink site.
Right. No, definitely not there. I would say, okay, and this is, I know you might not be able to do this, but I'm going to try to get away with it. Anywhere in England, like anywhere like in the UK, there's so many different historic locations, like with.
Oh, you got the catacombs in France. You got Westminster Abbey. I mean, no, they're like, you got Jack the Ripper Alley. Like, you have places. Okay, this one time I will accept a region.
I would, because like in the UK, like you've got the castles, you've got, like you said, you got the Jack Ripper Alley, you've got oh my God, Stonehenge, you've got, there's just so many locations in the UK, and the history, no knock to America, but hello, their history runs so much deeper that who knows what's going to come through, what's going to speak to you. Whereas here, we know that it's probably going to go only back so far. Whereas if you go to the UK, I mean, yeah, France probably has a little bit more there too, but I think that some places are, I think the whole castle aspect, because the fights, the battles that would go over of the land, you would have different clans that would be duking it out. Look at everything that happened.
I'm going to throw this one out to you. I think next time you do a road trip, instead of going west, you come east, because I live in one of the oldest states in America.
Okay.
I'm out here in Massachusetts, so
there's so much in Massachusetts I want to do, and I want to hit up, and I want to hit Massachusetts so bad. Like the history and the colonies that were all out there. I mean, we don't have that. I mean, like if you're out here in the Midwest, you might randomly come across a log house that was like the first one built, like west of the Mississippi, but you don't have the history that the East Coast has with the 13 original colonies. And Massachusetts, I would love to spend at least a week out there and just drive and see what I can find.
We're going to have to set that up, because I'm out here, and I know a lot of locations. I know a lot of location owners, and trust me, there's some diamonds in the rough out here.
And see, those are my favorites. I love those hidden gems. That's what I aimed for, to bring those to light. So yes, okay,
Nathaniel, Medfield State Hospital. Actually, I've been there before. Shutter Island was actually filmed there. So you also have Danvers State Asylum.
Nice.
Amazing place. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left in the program here. I have my last question for you.
All right.
And this one's really going to rack you because there's a lot of stipulations to this question. So listen close.
Okay.
So if you can assemble a team of 5 people. Now, here's the thing. Fact or fictional?
Oh, shit.
Living or dead? What would your team of 5 be?
The first one's Lorraine Warren.
Now, are you going Ed and Lorraine because couples count as one?
Okay, then I'm doing the Warrens as a whole. So there's one.
So there's one.
My next one. Oh my God, you're making my heart race on this.
I told you there's gonna be some good questions.
Yeah, no, like I love this because I'm going eeny, meeny, miny, mo in my head right now. Okay, everybody know that I love you and I respect you, and please do not feel like I am disrespectful. Okay, so the Warrens, hands down, no questions asked on them. Mr. Holzer, you know, he was one of the founders with, you know, doing all his EVPs and his work in the field. So there's 2.
Now, like I said, they could be fictional characters too, so you could choose Sam and Dean Winchester if you wanted to.
Yeah, I was debating on throwing, you know, Scooby-Doo in there just for shits and giggles, but you know, he'd
need a comedy relief,
right? So I mean, we could have Scooby-Doo in there. He'd be the one running away while we're running towards it.
Now, when you get Scooby-Doo, you get the entire gang.
Oh, that would just make it even better, you know. So they can be the ones that go out and debunk for us and figure out that it's actually the next door neighbor.
Yeah, the one that rips the mask off at the end.
Yep. Because it's always somebody at the end with the mask, you know. So yeah, we'll do the whole gang just for shits and giggles to make us laugh, because you know we need that comedic release for sure, like we said. Okay, so that's 3, 4. I'm tapping in Rob, the owner of Get Haunted, Mr. Statch himself. That man can get EVPs that man can get EVPs like nobody's business. Peanut butter, baby. I don't know if you've ever heard the peanut butter.
I think it's him just breathing in the microphone. No.
But no, Rob, I mean, I got to tag him in because the way that he's able to connect on a whole, the clarity of the EVPs that he is able to get, I have never been so blown away by how they talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard EVPs before, but he's able to pull rabbits out of hats when it comes to those.
And Rob, Rob, if you're listening or if you go back and listen to the show, please don't kick us off. Get Haunted. But Rob is not a very approachable guy. His demeanor and his appearance is kind of like, yeah, don't come talk to me.
But and you know what they do? They come and they talk. Lost you. No, I got full bars. Am I there?
All right, I got you back now. I got you back
now. I was gonna say I got full bars. My phone better be nice. It's been nice all the way through. Okay, last minute. Number.
So it's not me.
No, it's me driving out through BFE right now. So number 5. Shoot, I'm doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo in my head. I'm gonna throw in a wild card of you gotta have the psychic medium on the team that's strong and grounded, and I'm pulling in Chip Coffee.
I knew that's who you're going with. I knew.
Love me some Chip.
To death. I was
Love
actually
some Chip.
I did Scarefest a few years ago, and I met Chip, and we went outside to smoke, and some guy would not leave him alone, and
Oh
he
no.
told me to be his pretend boyfriend. So for that night, I will forever entitle myself as Chip's pretend boyfriend.
Nice.
We have
That's
Ken asking,
awesome.
we have Jackie actually asking a question. What is your ghost beverage of the night to keep you going?
Orange. I don't know if you can see it. It's the orange cream. That's what I'm pounding on right now.
It's the orange creamsicle.
Yep, orange creamsicle. And then I'll switch over to cherry limeade to take me the last stretch home.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. So tell everybody out there, how can they find you? You're always out there just like I am. I don't have my shirt yet. I need to get a hold of Rob and order, my Get Haunted shirt and everything. But I always see you out there repping Get Haunted.
Yep.
Get Haunted.
I'm actually going to have my own merch here soon, too.
Well, you and I are going to have to hook up and figure something out here. We can cross promote a little bit and
yes,
definitely send something out, because we're now doing, like, on Unturned Pages, we're doing some great giveaways coming up soon. So we're looking for people to send stuff in that we can give away to not only give somebody something that listens, but also expose you guys as well.
Awesome. I love that. That's kind of like, well, what I do on Fridays is I do shout out Fridays. So okay. I've been getting merch from people, and I will dedicate my Friday to wearing your shirt all day and tagging them in all of my socials and making sure that they are known across the board.
See, that's what I do. I always try on both my shows. I do, because I do a show on Sunday and Monday, and I always try to wear a different shirt, promoting a different team, promoting a different location, something like that. That's what I always try to do. So, because awesome. You know what, just like the Get Haunted, their whole thing is promoting other people and networking and getting everything out there. Yep. And what you're doing is absolutely amazing, because you're just this single person out there just loving her best life and going from place to place and just doing your thing. And that's great that I get to follow the journey, because I'm kind of living vicariously through you going to all these different places. So, I mean, it's great. And that's what I love to see on Facebook and everything, is all these people getting the chance to go to all these different places. And like, I had a buddy just went down to St. Augustine. And,
nice.
Actually, Unturned Pages, they're a little clue. We may be having the owner of a certain haunted doll be coming on here soon.
Ooh.
And it's not the one in Connecticut either.
I think you know.
I'm sure you do. I'm not going to release anything, but we are doing some raffle or some giveaways coming up here soon. We actually, Jenny has a, she was at Michigan Paracon this past weekend, and she got a, I don't know if she's going to kill me if I say this or not, but she got a signed picture from Jack Osborne.
Nice.
That we're going to give away.
That's awesome.
Also got a signed picture of the Project Fear crew.
Oh, wow.
To give away. We have a couple other things coming up here. We're going to be giving away some stuff from Warner Paranormal. We're going to work with Rob and Sarah and see if we can get like maybe a Get Haunted t-shirt to give away. But everything like that. But tell everyone out there how you can, how they can find you. And so Jenny got some other things too, I guess. She just posted in the chat. She may not be on the messenger. She wanted a low-key night, but she's telling me now that she got a couple other things too. So but tell everybody how they can find you, where they can find you, what you have coming up next too.
Okay. So you can find me on Twitter. My handle there is @BriesBabyBrie. You can find me on Facebook, Brie Hollingshead. I'm also on Instagram, _BeautifulDeliverance_, same name over on Threads, although I need to get better with my Threads. TikTok @BriesBabyBrie. And then with me doing the StreamYard, I just launched my YouTube channel. So any lives I've done, you can go find them on my YouTube now. And that's under Brie Hollingshead as well. Next up is, let's see, next weekend, I've got an event that I'll be at with Get Haunted, but I'm going to be doing, on the way back, I'm going to be hitting up different hidden gems that somebody whispered in my ear. So I will be road tripping because that's Labor Day weekend. So I'm going to be taking next weekend and hitting up some hidden gems that somebody generously gave me the information on to highlight and showcase. So you can find me every weekend driving around. I've got different things planned out. If I'm not on an investigation or at an event, you're going to see me in my car doing pop-ups, and you never know where I'm going to be. But I've got, September has got some pretty amazing stuff in store. I don't want to give too much away, but you're going to see me up and down the East Coast a lot.
Hey, both hands on the wheel.
They are.
No, Brie, it's been absolutely amazing for coming on, and I appreciate you sharing us in a very unconventional kind of way. But, you know, like you said to me earlier, this kind of brings people into the actual aspect of what us as paranormal investigators do, our long road trips that we do, us driving, you know, and, you know, your passion and your dedication to this field. From even doing an hour and almost 10-minute long interview now, just from the road while you're driving, shows that dedication.
Oh, thank you. This is, I decided you know, a quick little blip is I went through a divorce, and my kids told me, Mom, you need to pursue your passion. Paranormal's always been your passion. And so I started pursuing it, and who knew one road trip would turn into what's going to look like a lifetime of road trips now. So I'm excited to bring everybody along for the journey.
Well, your credit better be good, and the cars better like you, because you're going to probably go through a lot of cars with as much as you drive.
I luck out so far, so, you know, we'll just keep hoping it just keeps going.
Keep that baby going a little bit. But Brie, thank you so much for coming tonight. And, you know, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, Darren, podcast road trips. I mean, why not? Let's do it. It'll be like carpool karaoke, but paranormal themed.
You know what? We could make that a thing.
We could.
That would be pretty cool.
Definitely could. Just get a van, just drive around, and just. All right, Brie. Be safe. Get home safely. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And you were such a doll and a pleasure to have on.
Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you having me on, and it's been a pleasure to get to spend over an hour with you. So thank you so much.
Of course. We will definitely catch up here soon. And please drive safe.
Will do. You have a good night.
You as well, hon. Thank you. All right, guys. So that was Brie Hollingshead. She got some great things coming up. We also have some great things coming up for Unturned Pages. I know Jenny may not be with me right now, but she has gone above and beyond this past weekend, and we have some huge things coming up to announce once we work out some of the finer details of things. And you know, you guys will not be disappointed. We have a lot, like I said earlier, we have a lot of giveaways coming up. Like I said, we have the Project Fear autograph picture signed by all 4 cast members coming out. We have a Jack Osborne signed picture coming up. Jenny and I are going to sit down and work out the details of how we're actually going to give that away. We're going to be doing a couple different things of, you know, t-shirt giveaways, book giveaways, things like that. Jenny doesn't tell me everything because she's a typical woman, and just doesn't share everything with me. She expects me to be psychic and guess, but she says she has a couple more things that she has, but we'll definitely do that. So, Jenny, type in the chat and private chat real quick who our next week's guest is. But I really want to say a quick shout out to, okay, never mind. She just ran the ticker on it. It's Kara Phillips next week. I believe she's the, I'm terrible at things. But I believe she's the event runner of the Haunted Rock YMCA, I believe. I don't know. I could be wrong. But, oh, she's responding. Oh, no, she used to help at Joliet Prison. Okay, never mind. I was completely off base. Sorry. But no, guys, thank you so much again for listening. And, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. And, your support and everything gets us to where we need to be every week. And it means so much to us. So once again, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next week with Kara Phillips.
Looking for a unique paranormal experience? The Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon, October 7th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is just the event you're looking for. You will have the opportunity to investigate the Haunted Rock Island YMCA with ACG Paranormal. Visit with over 60 paranormal and metaphysical vendors from 8 or more states. And pre-order your t-shirts at dvinar@aol.com. Visit a psychic gallery reading, mediums, tea leaf reading, animal communication, dream interpretation, aura reading, tarot and oracle card readings, or get a Reiki healing. See a demonstration of the Estes method by Carly Bird. Presentations by Nick Simons and Aaron G. Thompson of 28 Days Haunted, Greg Bakken from Ghostbox Radio, and headliner Rick Hayes, along with many folks you'll see on Paraflix. Be sure to like and follow our sponsors: Paraflix, WLTK DB Talk Radio LLC, Studio 6 Productions, Unturned Pages, and Ocean Eye Crystals. General admission is only $5, and all proceeds go directly to the Haunted Rock Island YMCA. For more information on the Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon and vendors, look for them on Facebook under Events.